So guys, what's going on? I saw an article on the boxing scene and it said that how many pay-per-view buys would Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao do if they were to fight. We obviously know that the Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence fight did about 400,000 pay-per-view buys with attendance about 47,000. We know Pacquiao holds the highest attendance at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium for I think he has 51,000 people. He had 51,000 people in the arena in his fight, so he holds the record. And Errol Spence probably wants to break that record, fighting Manny Pacquiao, of course. Listen, how many pay-per-view buys will Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao do? I think they'll do quite a lot of pay-per-view buys, if I'm honest. I think they'll do, you know, I heard Pacquiao Broner did about 400 as well, 300, 400, something like that. I do think the price point in America is ridiculous, and that's why you're not seeing huge pay-per-view buys. I don't know how many Golovkin and Canelo did. I heard there was about 1 million. That did about 1 million. That's a lot of money, because if it was at $75, it's $75 million, which is a lot of dough, if I'm honest. And if it's some, I know certain pay-per-views were 90 or 100, you know, that's like 100 million. So, you know, Canelo Golovkin was an exception. That was a massive fight. Canelo obviously always does big pay-per-view numbers. He's on another level. So, you know, you can't really look at Canelo's pay-per-view numbers because they were huge. Now Canelo's no longer a pay-per-view fighter. He's fighting on DAZN. But Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, I think Errol Spence is obviously a growing star. His name is growing. He's growing his reputation as a boxer. And I think Manny Pacquiao is obviously a Hall of Famer legend. He's got, you know, one of the biggest names in boxing, in world sport, let alone boxing. In world sport, Pacquiao's that big. So, you know, I'm pretty sure that would do some kind of record. Not record, I don't think it'll do Golovkin, Canelo numbers, but I definitely think it can do serious numbers. I think it could do maybe 500,000-600,000 plus. I think that fight's massive, if I'm honest, because I think Spence is the new star coming up, and Manny Pacquiao is obviously on the way out. They would want to see if, you know, there's be a passing of the torch. And I think Al Heyman will be pushing for that fight, because I think Al Heyman wants to create that next big superstar, and I think he sees that in Spence. And I think he feels if Spence can beat Pacquiao and the torch is handed over to Spence, Spence will then become the new face of boxing. So I'm pretty sure Al Heyman will be very keen on making that fight happen. And I'm pretty sure Spence is very confident winning that fight. That's why he wants that fight. So I think it makes sense for all parties. I think it makes sense for Pacquiao. It definitely makes sense for Spence and Al Heyman to make that fight, because like I said, Al Heyman's looking for his next big star, and he sees that in Spence. And by beating Pacquiao, Spence will become that star. He'll cement that star, you know, that star material that you need to be a pay-per-view star, because as we know, the America fighters are really struggling to become pay-per-view stars. And if you know, they've got this momentum with Spence now after beating Garcia. If you can fight Pacquiao and beat Pacquiao, you have to say that, you know, there'll be a great chance that Errol Spence could be the next pay-per-view star in America. You know, I still think he's got a lot of work to do. I still think he's got to sharpen up his resume. And it's one of those fights where he still probably won't get credit. If he beats Pacquiao, people will say, well, Pacquiao was past it. He was 40, you know. So, again, Spence fought Garcia. He probably weren't going to get the credit for that fight. I think he did because of the way he beat him. But nevertheless, Garcia was a 135-pounder. And now Pacquiao's old. So he's probably got to fight guys like Crawford, Thurman to get that respect. For, you know, people to say, you know what, this guy is exceptional. I think a lot of people are saying that, but again, until he fights top fighter after top fighter after top fighter, we can't, you know, crown him king. But, you know, definitely Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence can do something special. I think they'll definitely break that 51,000 attendance at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I think they could do more. The attendance will be a lot more, and they'll break the record there. But in terms of pay-per-view, I think they'll do massive pay-per-view numbers as well, because I think Spence and Pacquiao, obviously, Spence is obviously a up-and-coming star. You know, you could say he potentially is a star now, and you know, he's definitely growing, and his name is growing. So, and Pacquiao's obviously, he's just a legend. So, you know, everybody knows who that is. So again, it has the ingredients of a massive pay-per-view fight. But of late in America, the pay-per-view has not been doing very well. So we just don't know how it does. But definitely this fight has the ingredients of doing massive, massive numbers. Massive numbers. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you guys think? How many pay-per-view numbers does Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao do? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.